shaking the entire street. Earl clutched his chest, stumbling back, while Laverne begged him to stop shoving those fake eviction papers into her face. 10 minutes before I drag you out myself, he roared, stepping forward like a predator hunting prey. Neighbors recorded from behind curtains, too scared to speak. Then a car rolled into the driveway, slowly, deliberately. Everything went silent. Before we continue, drop your city in the comments. I want to see how far this story travels. And if you stand with justice, like and subscribe. Earl and Laverne Carter had lived in that little brick house for 42 quiet years. They were the kind of elderly couple every neighborhood loved, Earl mowing other people's lawns even after his knees gave out, and Laverne baking sweet potato pies for every new family that moved in. They paid their bills on time, kept their home spotless, never bothered a soul. But everything changed when a new group seized control of the HOA, a group known more for threats than rules. They'd been bullying homeowners with fake fines, bogus violations, and intimidation tactics. Most neighbors paid out of fear. But the Carters, even in their age, refused to be bullied. 3 days earlier, a man claiming to be HOA enforcement showed up and handed them a warning that made no sense, something about unauthorized shutters that had been on the house since 1989. Earl tried explaining, but the man cut him off and said, "Fix it or face removal." Laverne called their son that night, her voice trembling. She told him about the threats, about the strange men circling the block, about the notice taped to their door twice in the same day. Their son answered softly, "I'm in court right now, Mom. I'll come as soon as I can. Keep the door locked. Don't let anyone in." But they didn't expect the fake cop to show up early, breaking rules, breaking boundaries, and now breaking their peace. And all of it was leading to the moment when their son would finally arrive. The fake cop didn't waste a second. After slamming the porch railing, he stormed forward and began ripping the Carters' flower pots off the steps, tossing them into the yard like trash. Earl reached out with shaking hands, begging him to stop, but the man shoved him aside with his forearm. "Interfering with an official eviction is a criminal offense," he barked, waving a badge that looked shiny, but wrong. Very wrong. Laverne tried blocking the doorway, her voice trembling. "Please, we've done nothing wrong." He stepped closer, chest puffed out. "Move, ma'am, or I'll move you." When she didn't step back fast enough, he pressed his shoulder into her, pushing her toward the railing. She gasped and grabbed onto the frame to keep from falling. Across the street, a neighbor whispered, "He can't do that, he's not even real police," while recording with a shaking phone. Another neighbor dialed 911, only to be told, "It's likely an HOA matter, ma'am. Contact them directly." Her jaw dropped. They're hurting them. More neighbors began gathering, at windows, fences, porches, helpless, angry, scared. The fake cop's voice grew louder, his confidence bolder, his threats harsher. Then, just as he reached for Earl again, engine noise echoed down the street. A car slowed into the driveway, its presence alone shifting the entire mood. The car door opened slowly, and a tall man stepped out, calm, composed, but carrying an energy that made the neighbors instinctively quiet. He didn't shout. He didn't rush. He simply walked toward the porch with a cold, steady focus, eyes locked on the fake cop's hand still gripping Earl's arm. "Who touched my father?" he asked, voice low but sharp enough to cut the air. The fake cop snorted. "Who the hell are you supposed to be?" He took a step toward the newcomer, puffing his chest like he owned the whole street. "This is an HOA-ordered eviction. Stay back unless you want to be detained too." The man didn't blink. "Detained? By who?" "You're looking at him," the fake cop replied, patting the badge clipped to his vest. The neighbors muttered. Someone whispered, "Oh boy, he picked the wrong family today." The fake cop jabbed a finger at the son. "I'm giving you 2 seconds to get off this property." The son finally looked down, at the papers in the man's hand, at the badge, at the mismatched uniform, at the cheap handcuffs clipped to his belt. Then he looked back up, expression unreadable. "You're not a police officer," he said calmly. The fake cop stiffened. "Excuse me?" You heard me. The son stepped onto the porch. Wrong emblem placement. Wrong badge number format. Wrong citation code. And that lanyard? Printed, not engraved. The crowd gasped. The fake cop's face twitched. Still trying to stay in control, he grabbed the son's arm to detain him. Bad idea. The son moved with lightning precision, not violent, just controlled, removing the man's grip and holding his wrist in a locked position. The fake cop winced in pain. Don't put your hands on me, the fake cop barked, voice cracking. The HOA president appeared from down the sidewalk, shouting wildly, "Arrest him. Arrest all of them. They've been violating every rule." The son slowly released the fake cop's wrist and reached into his coat pocket. The crowd leaned forward. The fake cop laughed nervously. "What? You gonna call your lawyer?" The son pulled out a slim black wallet. "Call," he said quietly. "No. I am the law." The porch fell silent. The son opened the wallet slowly, letting everyone see the embossed seal inside. The fake cop's smug grin faltered. Something in the way the man held it, calm, deliberate, made him pause. You're joking," the fake cop stammered. The son didn't answer. He stepped closer, eyes never leaving the man's. "Impersonating an officer is a federal felony," he said quietly, each word sharp, deliberate. "You've threatened elderly citizens, trespassed, and attempted unlawful eviction. Do you understand what that means?" The crowd gasped. Neighbors whispered, "He's serious, he's a judge." The HOA president's face drained of color as he backed toward the sidewalk. "Wait, that can't be." The fake cop's voice cracked. I was just following orders." The son tilted his head slightly, expression calm, almost chilling. "Orders? From whom? You think any paper gives you the right to bully old people?" Then, deliberately, he opened the wallet fully, revealing a shiny federal badge and credentials. "I am a federal judge," he said clearly, letting the words sink into every corner of the street. The fake cop froze, knees trembling. The HOA president's jaw dropped. Neighbors held their breath. No one moved. "Step back," the son instructed, turning slowly toward his parents. Earl and Laverne shook, stunned, relief flooding them, but fear still clung to their hearts. The fake cop tried to recover, shaking his hands. "Please, you can't." "You shouldn't have touched my parents," the judge interrupted, voice steady, unyielding. "And now, the law will handle everything you've done." The fake cop fell silent, realizing his arrogance had ended in humiliation. The crowd began whispering, murmuring the name, repeating the title that struck fear into the heart of the imposter, federal judge. Neighbors began recording again, but this time their faces shone with hope instead of fear. The tide had turned. The son, the law, had arrived. The fake cop and HOA president were left frozen, powerless, exposed, and utterly defeated. Silence fell over the street, heavy and tense, before the first cheers began. The twist was complete. Justice was in motion. The fake cop's knees wobbled as the judge stepped forward, each movement calm but commanding. "Hands behind your back," he said softly, but there was no need to raise his voice. The authority in it made the man freeze instantly. The HOA president tried to intervene, shouting, "You can't do this. Arrest them instead." The judge didn't flinch. "You will be held accountable for every violation, every intimidation tactic. Step aside." The neighbors, once cowering behind fences and curtains, now leaned forward. Phones recorded every moment. The street, which had been tense with fear, now hummed with anticipation. The judge approached the fake cop slowly. "You impersonated law enforcement, threatened elderly citizens, and attempted an illegal eviction. Officers will be here shortly, and I've already documented everything." The fake cop stammered, I was following orders." "I didn't." "You chose to bully my parents," the judge interrupted. "And choices have consequences." Moments later, real police cars arrived, lights flashing. Officers jumped out, assessing the situation. The judge pointed to the fake cop and HOA president. These two have committed multiple felonies. I suggest you process them carefully. Everything has been recorded. The fake cop tried bargaining. Please, we can settle this. I was just. The judge shook his head. No. Justice isn't for sale. Your actions will follow the law, not bribes or excuses. The police cuffed both men as the crowd erupted in murmurs, half in shock, half in awe. Neighbors whispered praise to the judge, gratitude evident on their faces. Earl and Laverne held each other tightly, relief washing over them. The judge turned to the crowd. Document everything. Stand up when you see injustice. Don't let fear silence you. His words struck deeply, a warning and a promise. Finally, he looked at his parents, helping them back into the house. No one will ever threaten you again, he said, voice softer now, filled with love and relief. The fake cop and HOA president were escorted to the police vehicles, their arrogance replaced with humiliation. The judge stood on the porch, arms crossed, surveying the neighborhood, a quiet guardian ensuring that justice had been served. For the first time in days, the street felt safe. The power had shifted. The oppressors had been exposed, and the truth had won. The neighborhood slowly returned to calm, but the memory of the confrontation lingered. Earl and Laverne sat on their porch, holding hands, eyes still wide with disbelief and relief. Neighbors stopped by to thank them, whispering how they'd witnessed a rare moment of real justice. The fake cop and HOA president faced the full weight of the law, charged with impersonation, elder abuse, and fraud. Their threats and intimidation were now documented evidence, and the street finally felt safe. The judge stayed with his parents through the night, ensuring they were secure, reminding them, justice may not come instantly, but it will always find a way. Earl squeezed his son's hand. You always said you'd protect us. And you did. Laverne smiled, tears streaming. As long as he's here, no one will ever bully us again. For the Carters, justice wasn't just served, it was made unforgettable.